Hey everyone, welcome to Breaking Even Better. I'm Carolina Ponte, your go-to fractional CFO, along with my co-host Brenda Harris and Trish Seaman. Today, we're diving into a topic that makes even the most seasoned business owners break out in a cold sweat, relying on factors you can't control in your business.
Building a business can feel like a roller coaster.
Financial headaches, hiring drama, and marketing overwhelm are just a few things that make for a bumpy experience. But with the right people sitting next to you, you might actually enjoy the ride.
That's why we started Breaking Even Better, to demystify entrepreneurship so we can make the ups and downs a hell of a lot more fun.
Each week, we'll bring you the raw, real, and unfiltered insights from our own experiences and expertise. If you're ready for no BS, honest stories, and a lot of laughter, then buckle in and listen up.
And let's ride this roller coaster together.
So this is such a big one for businesses. You can have a plan. You can have the best plan, the best strategy, and then bam, the biggest client leaves, a supply chain issue pops up, or your competitor starts undercutting your prices. Have seen that many a
Yeah,
times.
I'll tell you what, ladies, not that it's all about me in any way, but as a marketer in the room, I cannot begin to tell you the stress-inducing situations that when Google in particular or social media of some sort will change the algorithm on me. There'll be some kind of rule that changes or the way that they quantify how you get your search results and tell you I can't even control it, so much so that we just try to stay ahead of it and we'll email our clients and they're like, why don't you fix this? I'm like, because I didn't break it, boo boo. I don't. And I always use the analogy of I can't control the ocean, but I have a really good surfboard. That's really the best I can do, right? Man, it just absolutely can break us if we don't know how to handle it.
Right.
We've gotten to a point where we've had to, okay, they're going to shift. What happens now? So that's one of the big ones for us, for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah. So let's talk about the big factors we can control, right? Because we hear things, but what are really those factors, right? We have
Mm-hmm.
clients or customers' behavior changes.
Mm-hmm.
We have government regulations and taxes. We
Mm-hmm.
have natural disasters. Hello, COVID, anyone?
Oh God.
We have competitors' price wars. We have social media or SEO algorithm changes, to your
Oh,
point,
the live long
Trish.
day.
And then the supply chain disruption. So let's kind of dive into how do we navigate and what are the things that we can control in
It's
business.
interesting because, with the social media algorithm change or a Google algorithm change, it impacts my business, of course, because that's the kind of work that I do. I help people, get found on the internet. I help them with their social media, I help them with their lead gen. But what's crazy is when there's an algorithm shift, it doesn't just impact me, it impacts every single client I have. So, when they make those shifts, it can absolutely be jarring for my clients and for me. So it's not just that my business and my SEO or any is going away, but that of all of my clients who can absolutely be crushing when people see their engagement drop or their people aren't finding them, or all of a sudden a page that was ranking really well isn't. So yeah, it can absolutely be, oh man, so frustrating. So frustrating.
Yeah, it was the same with healthcare staffing. So during COVID, the rates were really high. But after COVID, when the subsidies stopped, a lot of stuff stopped. We saw where the market just flipped almost overnight. Now the rates are like before COVID. So it's not even what it was when it started. And suddenly the clients either pay very late or pay not paying enough because of their budget cuts, that's something you can plan for, but it's not always predictable. So you have to plan
Mhm.
for those unpredictable moments.
Mhm. You know what's wild? That as business owners, we're kind of conditioned to think that we have to control everything.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Mhm.
It's an
But
illusion. It's a complete illusion.
it's such an illusion. We have control of nothing. That's been my conclusion at my 58-year-old age. I'm like, I have a zero control. Like, I just gotta go with the flow because it is what it is. But
Hmm.
obviously, as a business owner, that's not necessarily the attitude you have to have.
That's right. So let's talk about when people make mistakes and when things are getting out of control, maybe overreacting to cutting too many expenses too fast. What about doubling down on broken strategies because they're scared? And then what about blaming the market instead of adjusting to it?
Mm.
That's one we need to keep in mind. I want to talk about that one some. And then
Hmm.
ghosting clients and vendors because they're just overwhelmed.
Mm.
Yeah, I would say that the one that applies to me the most is I know this is going to come as a shock to everyone, but I may or may not have overreacted. Maybe that happened. I don't know. So
Not
I
you.
definitely I know it's so weird for me. I'm so chill all the time. All the time. No, I can remember losing a big account early on. I mean, it's happened, throughout my, business ownership career, but I can remember this reaction so specifically that we lost a big account and we started cutting everything. I mean, like I started cutting everything and I'm like, wait a minute, maybe we still do need the internet. Hold on, let's not cut the, I didn't really cut the internet, but you know what I mean. And what I ended up doing is hamstringing my team. So like I was taking away tools that were like so necessary and having them, the expression do more with less. I'm not opposed to do more with less, but you can't do more with nothing. So definitely panicked.
Mm.
And what ended up sucking is that what I was trying to do was kind of overcome this and ended up losing momentum. So it had like there was a multiple layered impact to that glorious mistake for
Right.
you listeners to hear and hopefully not do the same. So yeah, that sucked.
I mean, I think we've all been there. I know I've made a call or two to Trish saying, "Do you have a minute?
Do you have a minute?
Do you have a minute? Because I'm going through something really difficult and I
Do
don't
you
even
need me to listen or
know."
overreact with you? What would you like me to do?
But I do think that, there are some things that we can, absolutely, do to, it's not going to go away, but to mitigate a little bit the impact of whatever outside forces, are coming our way, right? Of course, as the accountant, I'm going to say, cash flow, baby, cash flow. Make sure that you build a buffer. And, we have another episode out there that talks about profit first. And it ties into this because it is about putting money aside for a rainy day. You need to have a buffer. And a lot of times clients ask me, well, how much should I have?
Mhm.
And I'm going to say it all depends on what your comfort level is
Okay.
because we all have different, threshold of comfortable. Like I have one particular client, she's got to have, six figures in the bank account at all times, or she feels like she's broke and she has to go declare bankruptcy.
Oh
And
dear.
I'm like,
Mm,
girl, like you're gonna be fine. But
So
okay.
then,
I ain't that bad with the overreacting.
but then there's other people that are like zero balance all the time. So it depends on your level of comfort, right? I tend to think that if you have a minimum of 2 to 3 months put aside, that at least to me, gives me a sense of, hey, in 90 days, I can bounce back. I have bounced
Mhm.
back from way worse.
What? So, okay, so it sounds like you're starting to go into it. So I want the listeners just to pay attention to the things that you're about to say, of what you can control when everything feels like it's spinning. You mentioned the cash flow, and
Mhm.
then what from there?
So once you have that little, money set aside, and you know that if, ish hits the fan, people are
Which
going to
it
get
will.
paid, including
Right,
you, right?
right.
Then it's your messaging. keep your clients and your team informed, because the silence creates anxiety. Like if you don't hear back when something's happening, what is the first thing that happens? You imagine the worst. You start, the anxiety builds up and you're like, holy shit, like I'm losing all my clients, like, or everybody's getting fired. Like, what is going on? So, yeah, I'll give you an example on that. If a client comes in and it's been with us for a while and the team is used to servicing the account, and all of a sudden that client cancels the agreement
Mm-hmm.
and it's a substantial account.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think happens to the team?
The morale go down. They feel,
They
Yeah,
go
they
into
panic.
they go into panic because
They panic.
automatically they think I'm going to lose my job,
yeah.
right? So what's the first thing as a business owner and a leader that I have to do is address it with the team. Hey
Hmm.
guys, yes, they canceled the account, but no worries. We have a pipeline of,
Hmm.
prospects and we are okay. Our forecast is XYZ and we're going to be fine. So I need everybody's nerves to calm down and let's just keep doing a good job and everybody moves forward. But if I don't say anything, they're going to create all these stories in their mind and then they're going to be looking
Hmm.
for freaking jobs and then I'm going to end up without an employee.
Right.
Right.
I think that not only it's the messaging to kind of communicate to them, but sometimes depending on the size of your business, there's an element of ownership too. Like when I'm communicating with the team, I don't necessarily tell them all details because that's not
Mhm.
really their role. They don't need to help me sort through. But you can even ask them too. So here's what happened. Here's where we are. I'm open to hearing feedback about X, Y, and Z, something that's specific to what they do. And even if it's feedback you don't use, they feel like they're taking a part and ownership in moving things forward when things go sideways. So you're not really so much controlling them, but you are kind of controlling the narrative a little bit. Like,
Mhm.
this is something that we're a team, we're going to do this together, and I rely on you guys as much as you rely on me. And I completely agree, Carolina, that silence does create anxiety. Fortunately, anyone around me, it's never going to be silent for long. But but in all seriousness, leadership does come in the form of not only picking what it is that you say, but making sure that you are saying something and keeping your team. Trust them, believe in them and inform them. So I agree. I really like that one, Caroline. That's a good one. And I know you've got more, but I just wanted to weigh in on that.
Yeah, I also think that your relationships, don't forget those. Your relationships matter. I have a sister circle that I reach out to all the time, but when things get hard, your network matters. Remember
Hmm.
that. Your
Hmm.
best clients, your business peers, they can all help you brainstorm those solutions and help you figure it out, figure a way through it.
Agreed.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for our listeners, if this is resonating with you, make sure you subscribe, you follow, you share with those who need to hear this.
Mhm.
And here's the next thing that I would say, your internal processes. When you don't have systems
Right.
in place and you're relying on the good old WhatsApp application or in the, your paper calendar, whatever it is that you're doing, it's a little harder to pivot when something happens that you have no control of. So to me, that's another component of making sure that you're like setting yourself up to not spiral out of control.
Right.
Agreed.
I agree. I have a funny story real quick. I'm the one who's up late texting with clinicians because typically they work 7A to 7P or 7P to 7A. So I'm the one. And I was giving this lady quotes and she said, "Are you in the US?" She said, "Because I haven't seen these rates in a long time." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm like right here in Charlotte with you." So it was funny because the rates are horrible, but I still try to, offer better rates so we can get those people. And she did take the job and is onboarding now. But that's the point. It's like these rates, everything is against us, but we're still trying and still growing. So you have to be aware. And I wouldn't have done that without talking to you guys and my sister circle. Those are the things that keep me pushing. You need to make sure your circle, your people elevate you and level you up. That's
Mm,
the type of people you need to surround yourself with.
I love that. I love that because it
Yeah.
is true. I feel that I'm a much better business owner since I have a strong team, group of
Mhm.
women and business owners around me. I do feel like I am better prepared
Mhm.
for things. And when things are not going well, I know I can reach out and I'm not alone. And I think that's the biggest component of it, not feeling alone.
I agree with you. And I also think that when you spend time with people who fall within a certain understanding, but also mindset, I think that that matters too. Because again, kind of getting back to the things that you can do to keep yourself from panicking, like having the right mindset really matters. And I think that when you're spending time with people who also have a solution-based mindset, a let's not panic mindset, a we've all been here, I've got you, girl mindset, that's the energy that you bring to your team and to your clients. Like I mentioned earlier, whenever there's like a Google algorithm shift, which again, internally, I'm like, and here we go again. Okay, so I will almost always, especially if it's one that's impactful, I will send out an email to all of my clients, even in some cases, colleagues and previous clients, like, hey, so this is going to impact you.
Mm.
Here's what we're doing. Here's what we suggest. Here's the direction you want to go in. And I will CC my team on it. The reason why I bring that up is because the mindset is a proactive, challenges happen, let's move forward. How are we going to, what's new normal look like after XYZ happens? And I genuinely think that the worst kind of mindset is, scarcity, freak out, panic. And I want to make very clear that I have absolutely had that scarcity. I have absolutely panicked and I've absolutely done it the wrong way. But when you're in the practice and in the presence of people who don't function that way or who are overcoming functioning that way, it's the best way to move forward. You pause, you breathe, you're proactive, and you strategize. Mindset matters. It just does.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All right. So let's talk about the one time.
The one time.
That one time when I thought a new program was a great idea.
I love that
And
idea.
love it. And they're like, yes, we're gonna sign up because, I do have a tendency to like get people, energized and, buy into whatever it is I'm
You have
selling.
that skill.
But then we signed, we did all those things, and a week later, they're like, "Oh, actually, we're not gonna do it."
Never mind, I was just kidding.
I was just kidding, and I had already spent money.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I hate
Yes,
that.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
I hate that.
Hmm.
Mm,
Yep. I've
me
Yeah.
too.
absolutely been there. Yeah.
Not only is it like devastating to like get the news, although at the time they were like, "Yes, yes, yes," but now what about the money? Now I've spent
Hmm.
the money. It's like, what the hell do I do now?
Right.
I think those are the kinds of, like situations where you feel like you're spiraling, like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what now? What now? But to your point, Trish, having the mindset or being able to talk to people with the mindset of like growth mindset and it's
Hmm.
not, you don't have to panic. Okay, fine. So you lose some money. Like having those conversations of like the world's not ending. Like, yeah, you lost some money, but you still have your other clients and you're still doing these things. It helps you kind of like bring the anxiety level down, and then you're like, oh, like it's just business at the end of the day.
That's right.
We'll recover from this.
That's right. I can remember, and I was in this situation, and I know that you guys have been in similar situations where something happens in the world, something happens in the market that has an impact not just on your business, but on that of your clients. Like obviously, COVID being such a huge one for Brenda and for Carolina for different reasons. Like for Brenda, obviously she's in healthcare staffing, so I don't need to really explain that. But then when COVID hit, they had the PPP money, and everybody and their mom was calling
Mm.
Carolina and just saying like, "What do I do? How do I get it? Will I have to pay it back?" In my situation, it was a little bit different because marketing is actually one of the first things to get cut. So when I tell you that I panicked after COVID,
Mm.
everybody and their mom was cutting. Our biggest accounts were going away. So here I am thinking about my dad, who was a first responder, had the horrible lung situation, who's up in New York. So New York got hit really hard. So I'm like, great, my business is going to go away. My dad's going to die. My kids are home from school. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose everything. And I just started to disappear. However, a month later, turns out a lot of businesses were transitioning from having a brick and mortar to doing things where? Online. So panic really I could shut the doors that day. And so I had all my clients freaking out. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? And then I was like, all right, well, if you're going to lead, it's really easy to lead when the waters are calm and the sun's shining and everybody's making money. It's a different thing to lead when things kind of are panic stricken and falling apart. So like you have to kind of pull yourself up by the lapels and say, all right, girl, we got business to run, we've got people to help and stuff like that. So it didn't actually end the world. It stopped it for a little while, but didn't actually end the world. And again, that was one of the most pivotal mindset shifts for me, was like, there are too many people relying on me, my staff, my clients, my family, relying on me, that you can't just fold under the pressure. And I know that you guys went through your own versions of that. And I'm sure all of our listeners on some level went through something like, what did COVID do to you? And I guess it was like one of those things that's like so groundbreaking and so panic inducing that the people who were able to kind of pull from that a stronger mindset moving forward, that's what I'm hoping like our listeners get from this. And I know I'm usually the one that's kind of joking around, but that one was so very serious for so many people. And I have to say, I'm very proud of all of us that we were able to overcome that. And if for some reason you're listening and your business was directly impacted and you either had to cut it down or shut it down or move in another direction, just know that that does not mean you failed. You actually just turned it on its head, and you're going to take that lesson and grow from another direction. Like, failures are not antithetical to success. They're part of the success journey. So just know that. So anyway, sorry, I know I got a little deep for everybody right there, but I would love to kind of bring this back to a place where we can talk about action steps. So when COVID hits, or when the sky is in fact falling, or flood or fire or famine happens, what can we as business owners do when things go sideways?
Hold on, I didn't get to tell my story.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry, Miss B.
Trish, you gotta let Brenda get her.
I'm sorry. I'm
Well,
sorry. I actually thought she did tell her story. I guess I'm just not tuning in well enough. Miss Brenda, big apologies to you, my friend. I apologize.
I have told a couple stories, but this one, just when you were talking about during COVID switching to virtual. Now it happened for real. I'm just so serious. It happened where the hospital wanted to go virtual, and I'm like, the nurses got to be bedside. You can't treat somebody from home. I mean, we have telenurses, but that's not the kind of patients they had. They had the respiratory patients, the breathing patients. Like, you got to be bedside. So I'm like, well, the office, the recruiters are working from home, but the nurses got to go in. So, and then I got horror stories too. So anyway, I just wanted to say that because it was like, what? I think we're moving too fast here. We got to stop, take a deep breath, and think about what we're talking about. But that's all I wanted to say. Okay, so let's get into these action steps. The first one, build 3 to 6 month cash buffer, I would say. 3 to 6 months, even a small percentage. You remember the last episode we had, the small percentage of the revenue? So the first action step, 3 to 6 months. The second one, review your contracts. Read them things, highlight, ask questions, but review your contracts and have a backup plan if those clients disappear on you. The fourth one, build multiple generations or lead generation channels. So I have, of course, the job posts. I have referrals, word of mouth referrals. I have people just sending in their resumes, and then I have the hospital referring people at times. So make sure you have a multi-lead generational channel where you can get stuff from everywhere. And last, what I just said, stop and take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath and think about it. You can't control the market, but you can control how you respond to it. So those 4 things are my giveaways or my takeaways.
I also think that there is an opportunity for us to look at not just our business, but our expectations of life and future, and try to do some, sort of soul searching as to, do you want to continue to do what you're doing? Is it a wise idea, or is this the right time to pivot and do something different? I think that's also part of getting yourself ready for the unpredictable things that happen that are outside of our control. That's it. It's a wrap. I hope that you all enjoyed today's episode. And if you like this conversation, please, by all means, subscribe, share, and follow, and all of the things that we like to do with our podcast. And if you want more help for your business, we have a whole bunch of stuff behind the wall on our Patreon account. So make sure that you follow us there as well. And just get ready for the uncontrollable things that are going to happen because it's a ride.
Without question. And if you want to share a crazy story about something you couldn't control that impacted your business, maybe it sounds like something we just said or something completely unique to your business, DM us on Instagram or send us an email because we just might feature it in an episode. We love to hear stories from other people too. It's not all about just our stories. We'd love to hear from other business owners too, no matter how crazy. In fact, the more crazy, the better. So if you'd like to be featured in a funny episode, maybe you should send us a little DM with one of your crazy stories.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us today. See you next week, and let's keep breaking even
better.
Thank you so much for listening to the Breaking Even Better podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. To connect with our podcast or any of us individually, make sure you head to the show notes for all the links you need. See you in the next episode.